Now, knowing you, I know that you're aware of the things that people are saying. You're moving up in two-weight classes. You're the smaller man. Whatever you do, Terence Crawford, don't exchange against them. What do you feel you have to do?
Be myself. I'm 41-0 for a reason.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career.
Everyone thought Floyd's 50-0 record would never be surpassed for more than 20 years. He was the defensive magician who made legends seem like common people, the ghost in the ring. However, after a single momentous night, the lone man facing them both made a single explosive declaration that threatened to destroy the entire monument. The argument was no longer solely about superiority. The question was if Mayweather's whole career had merely been overshadowed. Following a brilliant performance in which Terence Crawford accomplished what many said was impossible, the firestorm started the instant his hand rose against Canelo Alvarez.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion. 3 times over, 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept his different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight.
However, the post-fight news conference was the true shock. With the entire world's media watching him closely, Canelo didn't hesitate to compare Crawford to his former opponent Floyd Mayweather. He said simply,
if you can compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Coming from the sole combatant on the planet to compete alongside both men in the ring. This wasn't merely a viewpoint. It was a shocking revelation that rocked the sport. A strong voice was poised to enter the argument that had been simmering for years since that one sentence sparked it. Stephen A. Smith, who was observing from the sidelines, was instantly enthralled with what he saw. Like many others, he anticipated that Crawford would outbox the bigger, stronger man by using his technical skill and staying outside, but that did not transpire.
Well, I appreciate Crawford making my prediction come through. Coming into the fight, I had him winning by decision. I thought he was a superior boxer. I thought he would be able to take a punch. And as long as he didn't stay there and exchange with Canelo, I thought he could do it. What surprised me is that there were times during the fight, he did stand there and exchange with Canelo and took it. Took some body shots to the liver, took some headshots, exchanged, and still ended up winning this fight. I thought from the 8th round on, he just put on a boxing clinic. They gotta give credit where credit is due. Crawford deserved to win the fight.
Smith was shocked to learn that Crawford did more than simply survive. He demonstrated that he was more than simply a skilled fighter by entering the flames and trading blows with Canelo. He was tough. According to Smith, what I didn't expect was for him to stand in there and exchange and survive. And he did that multiple times. And for that reason, he is deserving of a lot of praise. He even dissected the bout, claiming that after 9 rounds, he had it scored 5-4 in Crawford's advantage before Crawford put on a boxing clinic to win the final 3 rounds handily. He took in Canelo's might and retaliated, winning when a smaller man ought to have faltered.
Crawford is a special fighter because he's got a mean streak. He doesn't back up from anything. He's usually the superior boxer in the ring. He finds a way to win. No matter who he's going up against, no matter what power you have, what boxing skills you have, he is truly a generational fighter. He wants to go in the ring and not just beat you, but show you he was a better man. And he's not one who believes that just a knockout does that. He likes outboxing you and showing you that his skill level is superior to yours. And he showed it tonight.
Although he was greatly impressed by the performance, Stephen A. was not yet prepared to overthrow the king because he remembered a different kind of master, a phantom in the ring that Crawford, deep down, was not. He hailed it as a masterclass.
Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Yeah.
He would go into a ring knowing he had no shot at knocking somebody out because his hands were hurt too much, and literally walked in the ring and said, I'm gonna embarrass you and humiliate you by showing the world you can't hit me.
Stephen A. Smith drew the line at this point, making a significant distinction that alters the entire argument. He reminded everyone that the main objective of magician Floyd Mayweather was to win without getting struck. Mayweather was a defensive mystery. Floyd understood he couldn't rely on knockout power because of his infamously fragile and injured hands from the second half of his career. This was more than a theory. The problem was well documented.
Floyd Mayweather looks me in my face and he says, I'm gonna take him out about the 8th or 9th round. And I said, your hands are always broken. You ain't known for your punching powers that you moved up from like to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're gonna do this? He said, Stephen A., he's a UFC fighter. He said, he's a striker. He's accustomed to coming at you and throwing punches. What he's not accustomed to doing is punching while he's throwing backwards, while he's moving backwards and pushing you off of him. He says, I'm gonna walk right into him and stay at his chest. He's gonna have to push me off in order to throw his punches. He said he's gonna be circling the ring. He said by around 4 or 5, he's not gonna have any legs. He's gonna be done. And he said, and I'll just toy with him and keep him around until around the 8th or the 9th round. And that is exactly what Floyd Money Mayweather did. He told me exactly what he was gonna do, and he did it.
Mayweather acknowledged that his hands are extremely frail and disclosed that he was unable to spar for a month prior to the Conor McGregor bout because of an ailment.
Let's go. Okay, all right. Relax, baby. The job is done. All right. Put in a bucket of ice. I'll get a bucket of ice. Kill him.
I'm saying that Shane hit me with a hell of a shot. Okay. Actually, 2 shots. Oh, okay. But even in that particular round, what I said to Shane was this. I was like,
you dead self said something to him when you grabbed him.
I said, you gotta kill me.
Oh shit. I wasn't ready, bro.
I said that was a good one. I said that was a good one, but you gotta kill me. Wow. So you gotta kill me. And did I mean I'm not gonna lie.
A more contentious layer is added by the long-standing rumor that Mayweather fought nearly all of his fights in Las Vegas during the second half of his career, which is one of the few venues that permits fighters to use numbing injections like Ziocaine for hand pain. This suggests that Mayweather's hand problems played a significant strategic role in the locations and methods of his fights. He became untouchable instead.
Rocky Marciano was 49-0. Before Floyd got to 50-0, he was a heavyweight champ. Did anyone ever consider Rocky Marciano the GOAT? No, not seriously, no. Why would Floyd be considered the GOAT? Because he beat more fighters than Rocky did, more great ones? That's true. But really, Floyd was careful in the way he selected opponents. Don't get that twisted. It's not that Floyd didn't fight a lot of great fighters. He did. It's not that I don't think he would have beaten a lot of the tougher fighters that he fought. I think he probably would have, but he didn't do it. He waited. He waited till Pacquiao wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't fight Margarito when Margarito was tearing everyone up. He waited for the right time to fight people. He got paid twice as much for fighting Pacquiao in a less dangerous fight than he would have had he fought him when everyone wanted to see him fight. Floyd is among the all-time greats, but he ain't number.
Trainer Greg Hackett shared this opinion, stating that the Floyd who faced Canelo was a fully developed fighter with an unwaveringly polished style, in contrast to Crawford's wilder style.
I can't say he capping. I can't, because I don't know what he felt. But when I heard that, what I think is, when Floyd beat me, I was 23, I wasn't polished. When Bud beat me, I was the man. I was the man. And he beat me fair and square. He beat me at my game and he beat me at his game. That's why Canelo said that. Do I believe that? It's tough to believe. But I can only take Canelo's word because he's the man that's been in the ring with both of them. But I understand why he said it. I was a kid when I fought Floyd. He wasn't a kid literally, but he was young. He was young. There was a lot he didn't know. There was a lot he didn't understand about boxing that he later on learned and got better. But Bud beat the better version of me, even though it's the ran down version. I'm saying that because it is some wear and tear there with Canelo. I've been saying it the whole time. When a guy got almost 70 fights in current time, with all those big camps he's been doing and all that, trust me, it's on wear and tear there. I'm not making excuses for Canelo. I'm just saying.
I don't know. That's what it gives it that air.
I also think you got to remember when you talking about a Mexican fighter, they big on punishment. He might also feel Crawford punches harder than Floyd and took more chances than Floyd took. Floyd really was super speed that night. Everything was speed, and it irritated Canelo because Canelo couldn't do what he wanted to do, and he looked nothing like himself. Like I said, I think it was just times where Canelo felt like, damn, I could have had him. With Floyd, I think he felt like paralyzed. Like, damn, I can't catch this motherfucker. He's too fast. But with Crawford, I felt like he maybe was saying, damn, I could have, if I would have threw this, or if I would have did that. You know what I mean? Because it was times Crawford sat there and caught a punch and countered back. You know what I'm saying? He let Canelo throw. Like, go ahead, throw your shit. He caught that shit, boom, and come right back with the hook. The same shot he caught Earl with. He was touching Canelo with some of that same shit, man. And it was just like, and it was times where Crawford was imposing himself on Canelo. He was stepping to Canelo at times. He didn't do it the whole fight, but I'm just saying it was times he stepped to him. Floyd did too, but Floyd just was so fast, so much faster, and the education was like totally different. Like when Canelo fought Floyd, Canelo was in middle school. He wasn't even, you know what I'm saying? Floyd by that time was already a Harvard graduate. You know what I'm saying? So
You have to look at Floyd Mayweather in this regard. Once he moved up to welterweight, his hands were always damaged. So he kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to knock you out for the most part. And still, he walked into the ring and put on masterful performances because he was so superior skill-wise and defensively. You can't say enough. Tonight with Crawford, for example, we saw him take a punch on several occasions. With Floyd, we didn't see that too often because you couldn't hit him. That's the difference.
Canelo, however, delivered strikes to Crawford. He demonstrated his toughness and chin. However, the thing that set Stephen A. apart from Floyd, in his opinion, was the necessity of proving it. Many pointed to a more straightforward reality before the argument could become any more heated. The two combatants came from different eras. It took more than just skill to do this. It had to do with eras. I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era, and Floyd is the best fighter in his era, Terence Crawford said, acknowledging this with some respect.
He just got something that I want.
And it's not just the title, it's what else?
It's everything. He got everything. And I'm coming to get it.
When you beat him, you'll have everything.
That's right.
This viewpoint adds an essential element of complexity by implying that greatness is a title that corresponds to the particular period in which a fighter dominates rather than a single linear journey. The age element makes the comparison even more difficult. Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's own uncle, contended that Floyd had outlived his peak and was already 36 when he faced a youthful Canelo. A detail that directly compares Crawford's battle with an experienced Canelo as being extremely challenging.
Well, also if we remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So.
What was Canelo? 20-something? 21? 23? 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people, but
How you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime when you're at 36.
It presents the debate as two kings ruling over two different eras of boxing history, rather than who is superior head-to-head.
We've had a lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
yes,
fight.
Sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah,
yes. he's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ in that
sense is crazy. The funny thing about it is Terence has been the only other guy that people can say he always figures it out.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But you gotta have an OG somewhere.
Anybody else? Yeah.
There's an OG
Somebody
somewhere.
gotta pioneer it, right?
You gotta. There's an OG you can't out-figure out somewhere, and I just believe Floyd is that OG you can't out-figure out.
Although there is much disagreement on their defensive tactics and primes, one thing is undeniable. Terence Crawford has an incredible accomplishment on his record that Floyd Mayweather could never match.